Long before the birth of the United States, before Columbus set sail or the first European stepped onto the shores of the New World, there was a city. Not a village, not a wandering camp, but a sprawling urban center, a place of towering mounds, bustling plazas, ritual fires, and sacred temples. It stood proudly where present-day Illinois meets the Mississippi River, near what we now call St. Louis. Its name to us is Cahokia, though no one knows what its original inhabitants called it. The people who lived and breathed there vanished long ago, leaving behind only earthworks and a silence so vast it still echoes through the soil. Cahokia was once the beating heart of a thriving civilization. Around 1050 CE, the city seemed to rise almost overnight, swelling in size and influence. It became the largest city north of Mexico, home to an estimated 15,000 to 30,000 people, more than medieval London at the time. Its centerpiece was Monk's Mound, a staggering pyramid of earth over 100 feet high, built without metal tools or beasts of burden. It loomed over the flatlands like a monument to ambition, crowned with what was likely a wooden temple or the residence of a ruler. From its summit, one could see the sprawling complexity of the city. Neighborhoods divided by function, satellite mounds, wide causeways, and plazas where ceremonies unfolded in rhythm with the sun and stars. At the heart of Cahokia's society was a deep spiritual consciousness, woven into every brick of soil. The city was aligned with the heavens, its sacred spaces arranged with astronomical precision. Just outside the city stood Woodhenge, a circular formation of massive wooden posts used as a solar calendar. On the spring and autumn equinoxes, people would gather to watch the sun rise through specific posts, a ritual that reflected the harmony between earth and sky. This wasn't merely a primitive observatory, it was a declaration of power, a demonstration that the rulers of Cahokia not only governed men, but communed with the cosmos. And govern they did. The ruling elite, possibly viewed as semi-divine, orchestrated both civic life and sacred rites. Beneath Monk's Mound, burials of nobility were found surrounded by human sacrifices, retainers sent to the afterlife with their lord. But Cahokia was more than pageantry and power. It was a complex, interconnected society. Vast trade networks stretched from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico. Artifacts from distant lands, copper from the north, seashells from the south, obsidian from the west, flowed into the city. Craftsmen shaped intricate figurines, jewelry, and ceremonial tools. Farmers cultivated maize in quantities large enough to support a dense population, while religious leaders interpreted signs from the heavens and the earth. But greatness is a fragile thing. By 1350, just 300 years after its meteoric rise, Cahokia had collapsed. Its people disappeared, its mounds left to the wind and the weeds. There were no armies that burned it down, no natural disaster to swallow it whole. The decline was quiet, enigmatic. Some believe overpopulation strained its resources. Others point to deforestation, flooding, or prolonged droughts. Still others suggest internal conflict, or the breakdown of the elite's religious authority. Perhaps the people simply lost faith in those who claimed to speak for the gods. Imagine the slow unraveling, the once thriving plazas growing silent, the fires going cold, the city, once alive with song and ceremony, turning into a ghost of itself. People trickling away in search of new lands, new leaders, or simply hope. And the mounds, those monumental testaments to human will, stood watch over the departing footsteps, too immense to forget, too sacred to destroy. Cahokia was never entirely erased. Native oral traditions may hold distant echoes of its legacy, and centuries later, when French explorers stumbled upon the mounds in the 1600s, they could only guess at the hands that had shaped them. The name Cahokia was borrowed from a local Illinois tribe living nearby, but they were not the city's builders. The true name of its founders, its kings, priests, and citizens, was lost in the mist of time. For generations, historians and archaeologists dismissed the idea that such a city could have existed in pre-Columbian North America. It didn't fit the narrative. A city with urban planning, astronomy, and a ruling class, built by Native Americans? The implications challenged deeply embedded myths of the so-called savage wilderness. But the mounds remained, defiant in their silence, unwilling to be ignored. Today, Monk's Mound still rises from the earth. You can climb it. You can stand at the top and look out over the remnants of a once great city, trying to imagine the smoke curling from ancient hearths, the echoes of drums and chants, the bustle of markets and processions. You can feel the past press close, not as a dead thing, but as a presence, an unanswered question. Cahokia is not just a city of the past. It is a mirror held up to the present. It teaches us that advanced societies can emerge in unexpected places, that people we underestimate can build wonders, that civilizations are not eternal. They rise and they fall. Often they vanish not with a bang, but with a whisper. And what remains is not only their ruins, but their lesson. So the next time you drive across the flatlands of Illinois or fly over the Mississippi River, remember this: beneath your wheels and wings lie the bones of a forgotten city. A city that once stood at the center of a civilization. A city whose people watched the stars, shaped the land, and dared to build a world in their own image. Cahokia may be forgotten by many, but the earth remembers, and so should we.